Ricky Gervais is back on Netflix with the second installment of the extremely emotional, empathetic series that takes you on a journey of life and how beautiful yet cruel it can be. With Season 1 being very well received and Season 2 almost coming out of the blue on the platform, how does it compare to the first season? Well, let's find out. Before I go ahead, make sure you go over to my Twitter, @BrainPilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. So without further ado, I'm BrainPilot, and here is a review of Afterlife Season 2. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers, so watch with caution. The story. Season 2 picks up from Season 1, not necessarily directly after, but some time has definitely passed. It's clear to see that Tony hasn't been able to completely move on from the death of his wife, and also the suicidal thoughts that he's had. This is something that I thought would be the case. In the real world, it's something that would actually occur, and the loss of a partner is something that definitely takes time, and each individual would most likely have their own different way of dealing with it. So I'm glad Season 2 didn't change the way his character responded, and made out like he was over it. One thing that I really felt helped make the show what it was the fact that the story didn't feel like a dramatization of events that would occur in real life. You were literally witnessing life as it actually happens. It goes on, just not as good as it was before. And that is what we saw with the character Tony and the journey he went on. With all of the characters that he encountered, they each play an individual role in his survival and reasoning for staying alive. Whether that be the bond that he has with his colleagues, Anne on the bench, Emma the nurse, or the strange people that he goes and gets stories from for the local newspaper, they each provide him with insights into other people and how he's not the only person struggling with life. He understands that everyone has their own battle. Some are just harder than others. One thing that I feel this season did particularly well was the balance between watching old videos of his wife and his father after he sadly loses him, and the majority of the show, which is the present time period. The moment that was always chosen from a video recording, accompanied by the dialogue, was always so perfect. Whether that be his wife blowing a kiss, Tony breaking down saying she looks so beautiful, or his wife saying she can finally go to sleep as he said goodnight. They were heartbreaking to watch. They were the moments in the show, usually the final 2 minutes in the episodes, that would evoke emotions from me that I've not had when watching a show in a very long time. The final scene in Season 2 was something that I thought was very well executed. The uncertainty of what Tony was going to do was captured perfectly. It was very tense and emotional all at once. The inclusion of multiple distractions as he was going to take the sleeping pills and end it all, and not even his dog being able to save him, was something that I felt really did highlight how he was feeling, as the dog is one of the key factors of what saved him in Season 1. It was scary to think that if the doorbell didn't ring with Emma being on the other side, we would have had a completely different ending to the show, and it shows that such a small thing at the right time can make a difference. One thing I do really love about the ending of Season 2 is that nothing in the show resolves. As it's mentioned, life goes on. Even when something large happens, everything carries on moving, and that's how I interpreted the ending. Although everyone was doing their own individual thing, it didn't feel like there was a resolution. However, it felt very natural and like the real world. I didn't think it was possible to improve upon the story in Season 1, nor did I even feel it was necessary. However, after watching Season 2, I've been proven very wrong. I would say I most definitely preferred the story in Season 2 to the first. It built upon everything that we learnt about the character Tony and his traumatic few years, and it really puts a magnifying glass down on one individual person amongst everybody on the planet and show just how beautiful yet cruel life can be, even to the most ordinary of people. The characters. The characters in this show are something that really does make it what it is. It's very reliant on emotion and being able to connect with the characters in order for the story to land and evoke everything it needs you to. So let's take a look at the main characters that really do influence Tony and his behaviours. Tony. Ricky Gervais plays the main character in the show, and he does a phenomenal job. I feel the way that this character is written has been approached so delicately and well thought out. He's so likable and you really want him to get through the traumatic time that he's had. Although blunt to a lot of people, his mentality of only being nice to people that are nice to him is definitely something to take away from the character. Tony feels very believable, and I think they did a great job in creating not only a character, but a journey for this character. Emma. Emma is the love interest in the show. However, she isn't your stereotypical love interest that you'd see on television. She's the companion that Tony just wants to have. He enjoys her company and wants no more. It's not a glorified romance love story within this drama. It's a good form of relationship and one you'd expect to see in this kind of situation. I recognise the actress from Ugly Betty and I've never really seen her in anything else. However, I feel as though she does a good job. Watching her and Tony's relationship gradually develop and eventually come to an understanding is something that leaves you happy, and I'm surprised they managed to do it with such small amount of screen time. Anne. Anne is easily one of my favourite characters. The portrayal is executed so well, and we are given this kind-hearted, caring character who's also suffering. However, she's suffering in silence and you wouldn't have even known. There is a motherly-son bond between the pair, and whenever I see Tony going towards the bench, I know I'm going to get an emotional scene that I can relate to. Matt. Matt is a character that I do like, and was also going through a rough time this season. However, I didn't really enjoy his story about getting a divorce and going to see the weird therapist. I feel as though his story arc felt a little too forced out of all that we were presented with, and I didn't really care about his divorce. I do appreciate his friendship with Tony that we got to see, and I feel as though the actor did a good job, but he's probably one of my least favourite characters. Sandy. Sandy is a character that I enjoyed watching on screen. Why? Because she felt like she was the same as Tony. She'd go to work every day, put on a brave face, and just plough through it, knowing that she had to take care of her parents and siblings when she got home. Tony saw that within her, and you saw a bond grow between them. It was formed out of Tony wanting to look out for her, almost like the way Anne looks out for him. The performance of the character was really enjoyable to watch. Postman Pat. Postman Pat is one of my favourite characters in the show. There isn't that much to really say about him, but he's extremely dopey and oblivious to situations, but also very caring at the same time. Seeing him go on his date with Daphne was a really nice scene in the show, and we got to see a different side to the character. Daphne. Daphne is the sex worker who you would not expect to be the way that she is. Like many other characters in the show, she's loving, wants a relationship, and cares a lot about Tony. She seems to have a very unique relationship with him, and she treats him like a best friend. You really do see the feeling she has for him when she finds the sleeping pills down the side of his sofa. She's definitely one of my favourite characters in the show and feels well fleshed out. There are many other characters that do have an influence on Tony, but the ones that I've selected I feel have the most influence on him. Overall, I think the performances by the cast and characters are second to none, and I don't really think that I could fault any of the performances or the way that they were written. Final thoughts. Overall, I would say that this show is one of the most realistic, empathetic, emotional pieces of television that I've seen in a long while. Even more so than season 1. You follow Tony, a character who's at his lowest, and putting on a brave face pretending to be fine on a daily basis. And all you want for him is to just be okay. The mix of humour and emotion in this show is perfect. You would think that humour would almost be out of place in a show like this. However, just like in the real world, laughter and humour in these situations can actually make things better, even if it's only for a brief while. The characters all feel extremely believable, and I think it's some of Ricky Gervais's best work. You should definitely watch this show, but be prepared for a lot of crying and laughter, and reflection on your own life. So, there you have it. What I thought of Season 2 of Afterlife. What did you think of the show? Did you enjoy it? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.